So what does it really mean to know something? I mean, really, truly know it. It sounds like such a simple question, right? But it's actually one of the toughest puzzles in all of philosophy. Today, we're going to crack it open by looking at Fred Dreske's absolutely revolutionary answer from his book, Knowledge and the Flow of Information.
Okay, so let's just start right there. Think about it for a second. How do you know, right now, that you're looking at a screen? Or how do you know your name? It feels instant, obvious. But for centuries, philosophers have been tearing their hair out, trying to nail down what exactly separates knowing something from just, having a good guess or a really strong belief.
For the longest time, the standard definition of knowledge was something called justified true belief. It sounds pretty solid. Basically, you have to believe it, it has to actually be true, and you need a good reason, a justification for believing it. But it turns out this definition has a tiny but fatal crack in its foundation.
Check this out. It's called the lottery paradox. Imagine a lottery with 1 million tickets. The odds of you losing are just astronomical, right? 99.9999%. So you are completely justified in believing your ticket is a loser. And let's say when the numbers are drawn, you do in fact lose. So you had a justified true belief. But did you know you were going to lose before they announced the winner? Almost nobody would say yes. There's always that sliver of a chance. And that little crack is where the old definition falls apart. Dretske says we need something way stronger than just justification.
And that secret ingredient, the thing that's going to fix this whole mess, is a totally new and powerful way of thinking about information itself, not just as data, but as a fundamental force of nature.
See, Dretske completely flips the script on what information even is. Before him, information theory was all about engineering, like how many bits can you cram down a telephone wire. It was all about the how much. But Dretske didn't care about that. He was interested in the what. What is the actual meaningful message that a single signal carries? Like, what does it mean when your gas gauge points to E? And this right here, this is the heart of his entire theory. A signal, let's stick with the gas gauge pointing to E, carries the information that the tank is empty only if the probability that the tank is empty given you see that signal is 100%, not 99.9%, not 99.99999%, 100. For Dretske, if there is any room for error, any possibility of doubt, it's not information, it's just a strong hint. Real information has to be a rock-solid guarantee of truth. And this quote just nails it perfectly. Dretske says there's no such thing as false information. I mean, yeah, we have words like misinformation or disinformation, but those aren't types of information. They're fakes, they're pretenders. Just like a plastic decoy duck isn't a type of duck, it's not a duck at all. Information for Dretske has to be true, full stop.
So, with this incredibly strict, powerful new definition of information, locked and loaded, Dretske is ready to rebuild our whole idea of knowledge from the ground up.
And here it is. This is the big kahuna. Knowledge isn't a justified belief. It is a belief that is directly caused by information. The information literally flows from the state of the world through a reliable signal and directly creates the belief in your mind. It's a physical, causal chain. Let's just walk through it so it's super clear. Step 1. There's a fact out there in the world. Your car's gas tank is physically empty. Step 2. A signal, the needle on your dashboard points to E. Assuming the gauge works perfectly, that signal carries the information the tank is empty. Step 3. Seeing that signal causes you to believe the tank is empty. It's not just a good reason to believe it, it's the direct cause of your belief. And that, my friends, is what Dretske calls knowledge.
Now, here's a really crucial detail. It's not just any old signal that does the trick. Think about a secret knock. A random loud bang on your door might cause you to believe someone is at the door. But you know it's your friend only when that very specific pattern, shave and a haircut, 2 bits, is what causes your belief. The part of the signal that carries the specific information has to be the exact same thing that causes the belief.
Okay, so this theory also gives us this really fascinating way to think about the difference between just, seeing the world with your eyes and actually forming a thought or a belief about it.
Dretske says our raw sensory experience is analog. It's like a super high-resolution photograph. When you just glance out at a park, your brain is flooded with an insane amount of information, the exact shade of green on every single blade of grass, the precise location of every pigeon. It's all there in this rich, dense, analog format. But you haven't processed most of it.
Now, to form a belief, to actually recognize something, your mind does what Dretske calls digitization. It takes that messy, rich, analog picture, and it extracts one single, clean piece of information like, that is a dog. and it throws away all the other details, the exact color of its fur, the wag of its tail, and so on. So get this, forming a belief isn't about adding meaning to what you see, it's about subtracting all the irrelevant information to focus on one concept.
All right, I know what you're thinking. This raises a massive question. If knowledge is built on information, and information, by definition, has to be 100% true, then how on earth is it possible for us to be wrong about anything?
I mean, this feels like a huge hole in the theory, right? We have false beliefs all the time. I thought that actor was in that movie, but they weren't. I thought I left my keys on the counter, but I didn't. If our minds are built from the raw material of pure truth, how do we get things so mixed up?
Dretske's answer here is just brilliant. He says that as we learn, our brains build internal structures, think of them as little detectors, that are designed to carry specific information. A child sees hundreds of birds and their brain builds a bird detector. The meaning of that detector is the information it was trained on. So, a false belief is just a misfire. The child sees an airplane for the first time. It's a new kind of signal, and it accidentally triggers their bird detector. The system made a mistake, it misrepresented the incoming signal.
And when you put all of these pieces together, the definition of information, knowledge as caused belief, and the origin of error, you get this absolutely profound conclusion about what the mind actually is.
And here is the big, beautiful takeaway. For Dretske, information isn't some spooky, abstract thing we invent. It's an objective, physical commodity that exists out in the world, carried by photons and sound waves. And our minds, our beliefs, our thoughts, our very consciousness are simply what happens when a biological system, like a brain, evolves the ability to tap into and be shaped by this natural flow of information. The mind isn't some ghost in the machine. It's as much a part of the natural world as gravity.
And that leaves us with one last, kind of mind-bending thought to go out on. If information is a real, objective feature of the universe, just like mass or electrical charge, and all a mind is a system that can process that information, well, what else out there might be processing it? It completely reframes our place in the universe. Maybe we aren't the sole creators of meaning, but just the universe's most advanced interpreters so far.